first thing you want to do is pop that tire off. That lets everything open up so that you can work on it. Next thing you're going to want to do is put a hand on the back and unscrew, this has already been done, the brake cable holders for your foot brake, which I think is on the bottom, and your parking brake, which is on your left handlebar, and that's on the top. So we have your foot brake down here and your parking brake here. Unscrew these completely and take them off. It looks like just a strip bolt, and you can see it's kind of how it looks like. And then there are little spacers that fit in between each of these tabs, and take those out as well just to make it easier. They come right out, and we have them right here, good to go. Next thing you want to do is start disassembling the entire assembly back here. I have spacers, so I already took those off. Once you have everything off, you're going to go for your 30mm, I forget the name of this bolt that holds everything onto your axle. It's tight, so you're going to have to probably use an impact. I start with the breaker bar just to try and do that first, just a little bit safer. If not, grab your impact after you hit it with some WD-40. Take this off. Your hub should then slide directly off, and that opens up to what you have in here. My seal is bad. That's the reason my brakes went, is because the seal went bad and water got in there and distressed everything. When I first took it apart, I already had done that. There was water everywhere and mud and gunk came out. Next, remove the drum covering. And this allows you to see what your drum looks like. This should be perfectly clean without any sort of dirt on it. It's definitely not. Slide your steel drum off. Be careful, it's heavy. It should come right off. And now you can access the brakes. As you can see, they're extremely nasty and dirty. These are your ceramic brake pads. They're held on with springs, and they rub against the inside of this steel drum. You can see there where they rub. Obviously, it's not going to work with all the water and gunk in there. Alright, now you're going to get these cotter pins out. First, let's take a pair of pliers and do your best to straighten them out. Otherwise, grab some channel locks and try and cut them. There's just got to come out. You can always put replacements in. That's probably what I recommend doing.
Alright.
That works too.
Yep.
Okay, next you're going to remove the plate that holds on your brakes. It's a small thing. Just grab a pair of pliers like my father did, and it comes right off.
Okay.
Alright. To get these things off, it's just kind of tricky. You're going to have to muscle it. We hit it with some WD-40 on the two main pins, and just grab some vice grips and just kind of wiggle them, and they come and slide straight off. That's fine. There we go. So first one slides off.
Okay.
And the next one does too.
This has got to be clean.
Yep. So once you get your pads off, this is what it looks like. It is not what it should look like. The next step is to clean it in any way you possibly can. You don't have to worry about what you take off because you have grease on standby, and you can put everything back the way you found it. You can see there's still some water and gunk in there from where they were last time. And you'll notice that there's some sand in there, and if it's not from the water, it might be from your brake pads because they are ceramic, and ceramic is usually composed of some sort of clay, so it'll rub off some sand. What do you think we should do to clean this?
Spray it with some brake cleaner.
Sounds good.
Hold on, put this underneath.
Alright. Also important, if you don't want to make a mess, put something underneath to catch all the gunk. Alright, once you've got it out as clean as you can get it, ours is pretty nasty, but we got the majority of the gunk out. That's just a little bit of rust left there from the water. We're going to reapply the grease. It's very important to keep your drive shaft very well greased, or drive axle I should say. In case you've never seen it before, this is what the axle looks like inside of your Rancher. On each end it's tapered so that everything locks into place. So we have some heavy duty grease that we picked up at the hardware store, and just a little paintbrush, and we're just putting it all back in there. It's important to keep it greased, helps keep some of the water and elements out so your bearings don't get shot or anything else happens to it. anything you can touch that is not part of a brake should be greased. Rotates, it pinches the brakes back to a neutral position and into the position where they brake. There's a spring here that usually helps with that. So, to put the new shoes on, we're just going to slide them over it. Have we put the springs in yet?
Yep. It's easier to put the springs in first.
Alright. So I'm going to hold up here to help. Alright, I'll talk a little bit. So this metal piece is part of what actuates the brakes so that they come up and squeeze the drum like that. So we are going to definitely put some grease in there because it is a moving part. Grease is your friend, so as long as it doesn't need to stop, put it in there. Yeah. Now it moves much more freely. And that should help prevent it from sticking or anything else.
Alright, we're going to put the two cotter pins back in.
Alright, well, let's just put new ones in because those are pretty nasty.
Okay, beautiful.
Looks great.
Alright. I don't need to put any grease in this. I think it's greased.
Yeah, I think that looks good. So that's the drum that slows you down right there. That should just slide right on.
It's gonna work here.
Just tap it in to make sure it's all in. Alright, you can test it now just by spinning it around and grabbing this thing back here. I think that's going to work.
Before we put the cover on, we're going to grease this outer O-ring.
Yes, we are. So you'll notice here, if you listen carefully, a little bit of grinding kind of noise. That's normal. That's just the brake shoes started to wear in. They're brand new. When I pull this back to see, it stops the wheel instantly. And that's what we need. So let's add some more grease to it, since the drum took a little bit of it.
And we're going to grease all the way around the ring.
Definitely. Alright, that looks good.
And grease the ring.
Okay. Now, I'll switch to a different view so you guys can see what's going on with the outer ring. Alright, so you have the outer O-ring here. I'll see if I can get you in where you can see. This is your O-ring. You gotta make sure that inspect it all the way around, make sure it's not damaged or broken in any way, and then apply a liberal amount of grease all the way around
We'll get around you.
to help seal against everything else.
We might show them that screw in the bottom. So it's rating.
Yes, that is something good to remember. So this screw right down here, as you can see, it's right located below everything else. It is a drain plug for your brake. It is a 10mm plug, just like the drain for your differential. And what you can do is if your brakes ever stop working while you're out on the trail or whatever it is, and you think you got water in, you can always take this plug out and let it drain out and dry so that you have a few minutes and you can have brakes back at least until you hit the next puddle. So say you want to make sure that it's clean before you open up the drum and all the shit just splashes out everywhere. Just make sure you take that plug out and all the water will come out before you take everything apart. So it's a very good thing to know that there's a drain plug down there. Alright, looks like we got the whole O-wing nice and greased. Now we're just cleaning up the hub a little bit so it all fits back together smoothly. So there is an O-ring here. It makes another seal so the water doesn't get in there. We think that this seal is bad. We're putting it back together just so I have brakes, so we're going to order a new seal so that we can replace it. Now, something else that you might want to look for is around every few one of these tabs, you can see here, if I zoom in real close, they have little indentations on the actual metal. This is made so that way you can take a flathead screwdriver to help pry apart the brake cover. We did that when we first took it apart. Something very good to keep an eye around.
Okay.
I don't believe there is an up or down for this.
I was just thinking that. I don't think so either.
It just goes right back on. And it should gently slide back in. I don't think it has to go on anymore because when you tighten it down, it'll come back in.
Oh, there it goes.
Alright,
That
so
went in nice.
it should slide on nice and smooth, and it should come on so that there is barely any gap, and it'll fill in once you've done and tightened down all the bolts. That's why it's important to grease it, because the grease helps to put on a seal. I don't know if you could use silicone as well. Maybe someone wants to try it, and it'll probably work. Once you have it cleaned off on the outside, WD-40 also acts as a very good cleaning agent, so we're going to use that to spruce it up a little bit. Didn't want to use it on the inside because, you know, brakes need to stop, and WD-40 tends to prevent stopping and squeaking.
I think I want to put some more grease. I think this is a bad seal.
Yeah, that does look like it is.
Because this is probably how our water got in.
Most likely. It seals with the hub, but it might possibly be bad.
And of course, these are totally underwater in the water. So
Yes.
This is
Any water over 10
I think our
inches.
brakes probably were okay, but the seal
Yes,
is not.
we're going to save these pads and we're going to clean them up. So just in case something goes wrong, we'll actually have some spares.
That's like anything else. You don't know what the problem is till you get in there and look at it.
Yeah.
Did it see all the rust and everything? Mm-hmm. That's our issue.
Definitely.
Okay, let's put the bolts in.
Alright. So all of the bolts that hold on are 8mm and they're all hand tight. Alright, so this is the view of the rear assembly. These pieces, you can see here, there we go. These will slide out when we took it apart, that's what we did, I put that in there. And now once you've got it reassembled, you can put it back and then turn the screws back on. Again, the bottom one goes to your foot pedal and the top one goes to your cable up top. Don't tighten the cable up top yet because my brakes are all messed up there. So we're going to come back and we're going to see. This should just barely be tight.
Well, both of the ends of these bolts are out the back, so.
Right. Well, you can see that's where it stops, so that's where we need to make them tight. So the best way to do that, you want to hold the camera on there for me. Put your hand, putting back pressure until it stops, so that's where the neutral position is, and then just tighten it down until these are tight. And once they're tight, and it doesn't go back any farther. I'm gonna bring that back actually. Then you can see that's about where it should be. It should come back and stop right there. So now when we hit the foot brake, part should move and everything should go right back. Now, hold that on there and I'm going to spin the tire and it should spin nice and freely. Just like that. And come around so it'll show up and see. And now, hit the brake, it should stop. So once you get it off the lift and you're riding it around, you can fine tune this to make them as tight or as loose as you want. It's completely by preference. Let's have a look now at the top. We're going to have to take a quick look up here and see what the heck is going on. Because this is completely loose. I've discovered that because it got loose, this piece has become unattached, as have all my wires for my brakes and stuff. So, we're going to get it back in. This needs to come out and over, and there's a little channel slash tube, I don't know if I can get it over here for you, that you can see. A little bit on there. Now push the handle all the way forward, pull it around, and push it in. I'm working it a little bit. You can hear it clicking in the back, and that side is in. Now,
Go ahead and,
I'm going to test it. I'm pulling the lever.
oh yeah, now you've got good travel.
Alright,
That's gonna be
feels
good.
solid too.
Yeah, that's good
That's
travel.
what we need.
Alright.
Alright, I'm just going to reassemble this so that everything works. As far as I know, they come pretty much in the way that the wires have to go. This is your ground wire, and this is your hot wire. Ground goes on the little brass terminal here. You just kind of...
What do the wires do?
These are what control your brake lights. They're wired into the fuse from your headlights. If you ever accidentally touch one and it just goes off and then the whole brakes and headlights stop working, just replace that 10-amp fuse and it'll be good as new. There's a little button inside here. That's what activates right there the brake light.
How's it go in reverse?
The reverse is a lever here that pulls on a third cable that's down on the bottom. This is your reverse cable right here.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm just going to slide the protective covering back over it all.
What about this? Is this just...
Good travel. That's your reverse cable right there. I don't think that's going to be needing adjusting. This is your parking brake cable, and I believe there's a place where this intersects because it acts your front brakes too. So we'll look into that in the next video. Now I need your little wing nut. Pull the spring back and just kind of bend the wire, and it fits right in there. You can then push it forward a little bit to hold tension on it, and slide the wing nut and screw it right back on. Now again, you can see how these move in here. There's a gap between each side. You want to tighten it until that gap is filled on the one side and it feels a little bit more firm. It should come back just a little bit. You just got to kind of mess with it until you get it where you want it. You can see how it moves. So it should be pretty much level on both sides, so that there isn't any give or play in it. It should be solid. Just like that. So now, I'm going to pull the front, and it should work nicely.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to need to adjust this a little more. This is just kind of like a test and play kind of thing, because you want the brake to be tight on the hand. You can see now that I got it in place how much of a gap there is. So now I'm going to tighten it in to fill that gap. As you use it, it's going to fill in the gap and it's going to loosen, and you'll see where you have to put it. Alright, that should do it. So now we have free spinning tires and a handle that works. Alright, we kept playing and messing with it, and when you change them out, I'm not sure if this is universal for all of them, but that's what mine looks like right now. They're both about the same. That might be about 1/4 of an inch, and that could be how much to use. As for play, I have a nice tight front brake handle and a nice good back handle as well. Alright, so we're going to tighten this axle hub nut down with 30mm to 101 foot-pounds of torque. Our wrench doesn't go that high. Actually, I'm going to put the parking brake on now that I actually have that. I don't want too much stress on my shaft. Oh, it's so nice to have a parking brake.
Well, that's it.
That's it. That's 80 foot-pounds right there. I think that's plenty tight, because we're going to have to come back in here and put the seal on. So I think that's good. I'm going to hit it with the breaker bar just to get a feel for it by hand. But I think that's plenty tight.
And we're going to line up the cotter pin hole anyway.
It is lined up already. I may not even mess with it. Oh, that is tight. Alright, that looks good. I say we just leave it at that. That's very tight. It's at 80 foot-pounds right now. I know it's 20 under the recommended limit, but that's pretty darn tight. Alright, that looks good. Time for the wheel spacer and the tire.
Anti-seize compound or lubricant, and what you want to do is just coat your bolts with it. This will prevent you from ever having one seize and rust in place, and then have to, of course, cut it and
break a stud or have to change it out or something.
So that's it, and this will help them spin off and will prevent corrosion.
And it's not like grease that's going to make them come off easier.
No.
It's just to prevent corrosion. We should probably just paint some on this too. That's pretty nasty as well.
Well, we're going to do both.
Yeah,
right?
probably.
So, all right, what size?
Alright. Alright. So, an important piece of knowledge here. The lug nut torque. Everybody takes their high-powered impact, tightens them in as tight as they go, calls it a day. They don't necessarily need to be that tight. They're in there on the stock studs. Honda recommends that a 47 foot-pound torque be used to tighten these in. Everywhere I look, I can never find what to tighten anything down to, so I'm trying to share that with my viewers as much as possible. 47 foot-pounds for the lug nuts, I put them to 50, even number, call it that, and 101 foot-pounds for the hub locking nut. And that's pretty much all there is to it. For the spacers and for your aftermarket rims, their torque settings may be different. They'll tell you that when you get them online. If they don't say anything, put them at 50 foot-pounds for each of them, and you'll never have to worry about it being too tight.
Recording.
Alright, I'll take my 14 millimeter, which is the size for this. And again, 50 foot-pounds is all you need. Alright. And that's all it takes.
Oh, you
Here's your click.
Grease on your...
Whatever. Alright, final test here. Let's spin the wheels by hand and see if they actually stop. So I have free spinning tires. They're a little sticky, but that's just because the pads are brand new. They'll wear in. Alright, hit the brake. Handlebar. I had to hit it hard, and I can't move. That is so nice. And the foot pedal should do the same exact thing. Oh, that is nice. Alright. And there you go, folks. That's how you change out your brakes on a Honda Rancher. Stay tuned for part 2, the front.